Welcome, everybody, to episode 81 of Just Talking About Jesus. I'm Jan Johnson, your host. Born in Harare, Zimbabwe, Brenda Savanhu's journey has spanned continents and cultures. She spent her early years between England and Zimbabwe before moving to the United States at the age of 18. From a young age, Brenda was an avid reader, finding comfort and inspiration in the pages of Nancy Drew mysteries and Agatha Christie's. Brenda's faith story is one of rediscovery. Though she first encountered Jesus as a teenager, it was in her early 30s, after a season of wandering, that she found herself drawn back into his embrace. This profound return to faith became the foundation of her book, Memorial Stones, a guided devotional journal for foundational miracles in your life. Through her writing, Brenda encourages others to reflect on and celebrate the miracles that shape their spiritual journeys. Today, Brenda shares her story to inspire hope and faith in others, inviting them to recognize the hand of God in their own lives. So I'm so glad you're here, and I'm excited to have Brenda Savanhu with us today. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here, Jan. Thanks for having me.
We discovered that we have a little bit in common, and not our origin of birth or locations where we are, but God had given both of us the same kind of a message, and that was that we have journeys, and those journeys should be recorded and
Hmm.
paid attention to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and so as many of you know, I wrote the Bible study called Discovering Your Journey, and in that we have a journal where we go through and map out the journey of our lives and stuff. And then you have your book is Memory
Memorial Stones.
Memorial
Yeah.
Stones. So I want to just start out with where that started because I have and just read here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get in our Bibles.
Let's get in the Bible, and I am in Joshua. First, I want to start in chapter 3
Hmm.
and just the verse of 9.
Okay.
And Joshua said to the Israelites, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive before you." Right there, just there. If that was all there was, that'd be the purpose for really recording the things that have happened in our lives.
Hmm.
But you look back and see that, right?
Exactly.
And then in um, chapter 4, down on verse, oh, where are we? Verse 5. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, "What do these stones mean?" tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. Then these stones are to be a memorial. And of course, in our case, we aren't crossing the river. Well, maybe figuratively,
Proverbial, yeah.
but
Proverbial river.
and then the last one on 24, he did this so that all the people of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Yeah.
So when you kind of got that little nudge from God to write
Mhm.
your book, tell us a little bit about it, just as to where it came from a little bit and what's in it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of where to start. I'll rewind a little bit further and then I'll try to condense parts of it. So at 30 years old, 31, I was going through a divorce, and that's a good time for reflection when you're going through a divorce. So I was looking at my life, looking at my marriage, looking at my identity, and there was so much disconnect because I realized that there were so many dreams and things that I had dreamt of as a little girl that I had completely discarded as a married woman. and not intentionally, but just in the name of wanting to be a good spouse and supporting my husband at the time, his dreams. Um, and it was completely at my own expense. So I was looking at all of that and I read a couple books and they just ignited in me. But Brenda, you used to dream about doing this and you used to dream about doing this. And one of my childhood friends, I got in contact with her and I said to her, I don't know what happened to my faith. And she was like, yeah, like that's a good question for you to explore. So I sat down and started thinking about it, and I was like, God, you showed up in such incredible ways when I was a teenager. But going to college, getting married as a young adult, I completely just gradually pulled away from my relationship with Jesus. I wasn't going to church regularly. I wasn't reading my Bible regularly. I wasn't praying regularly. So that's kind of where it started. It started with that moment of just reflection, like what's going on. And I remember when that happened, like that Sunday, I went to church and I hadn't been to church in a really long time. And I didn't even quite know what I was doing. I just knew I needed to get back into the presence of the Lord. And then fast forward a few years later, I was doing Beth Moore's Believing God. Have you done that one?
I haven't done
Yeah,
that one, but I've done some of them.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she talks about memorial stones in there, like your like what are significant moments along your lifeline. And so I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea. I charted it in the Bible study, but it was something that stuck with me where it wasn't just those significant moments. I think in her Bible study, it was like your birth, like your marriage and stuff like that. I started to think about the places where God had just showed up in miraculous ways in my life. So it was just a thought in my head, and I would have conversations with God about it and say, I would like to do a project like this one day. I would like to do a project like this one day. And then, of course, life was happening and I was going through difficult things. And then one night, it was probably around midnight. I got woken up by the Lord in August of 2022, and He said, "Here's the structure for your memorial stones project that you want to do. I want you to take the tribes of Israel, um, study the names, the meanings of the names, and then talk to me about where I showed up in your life in that way."
Yeah.
Just very similar to Rachel and Leah and Bilhah and Zilpah, right? So I was like, okay, so that's how the project began.
Don't you love how he just drops something in your mind and you're thinking about it, but then when he goes, okay, here's how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I have things like in a dream or something about how something is going to happen or pull together when it's like, oh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Because I guess God never sleeps.
Exactly. And I've learned I dream a lot, and so I've learned to say to him, for my nighttime prayers, like if you want to keep talking to me, you're welcome to.
Uh, yeah, I was had another podcast and he was saying, in the morning, just saying, "Well, walk with me, Lord," and he's going, and he stops and he says, "I'm always walking with you. Where are you? You're just not. You're the one that needs to be."
That's so funny. I have a friend very similar. She always says, "All right, Jesus, come on, let's sit down." And she said it one day, and he was like, "I'm already sitting down. You're the one who isn't."
I know. I think we gotta reverse some of our thinking. Uh, I so each of your chapters is based on a different um
Yeah, it's
character
based
than
on the each of the names of the tribes of Israel.
okay.
And
Okay.
then also including Manasseh and Ephraim, even though they're half tribes. So it ends up being 14 stones we have. Yeah.
And so then each thing that God taught them in there is what you, so that's real
Yeah.
similar to what I've got. So because I go through, um, Mine is set up as because of this, this happened, resulting in. So it's kind of a secular, I wouldn't be here
Okay.
if this had not happened, and those type
Mm.
of things. But then I take that same format with Ruth, uh, Jonah, Joseph, and David. And so then
Oh,
it goes
wow.
through where was God in those situations where they took him because of this has happened, and whatever. Where was God there? Where in your life have you seen the same kind of things happen as
That's
well?
so good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's similar. Yeah. I love
yeah,
that. I can't wait to check out your Bible
I know
studies.
the same. Yeah. So yours is set up to do that you could do it as a singular Bible study or with other people?
Yeah, it's set up. You can do it singular. But doing things in community is always
Way
great
better.
too because you get to process while you're doing it.
Hmm.
So I think most of my readers so far have done it as individually. I'm hoping I have some like group book like bundles, so I'm hoping that some people might engage in it in a group setting.
Hmm.
And that I could pop in on their group and just see how things are going.
Yeah, because you could pop in just on a Zoom as well.
hmm
I thought
Yeah.
about that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something I would like to do. Actually, a friend of mine, she purchased my book and then she leads a Bible study. So she gathered some of her friends and they did it.
Hmm.
And then on their last session, I just popped in on their Bible study. So that was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine I included videos, short videos of my personal stories of whatever
Oh,
we
that's
went through. Whatever.
awesome. I
So,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it just
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more personal to,
It does, because then they see the face and they hear the personal stories. And I think it's the personal stories that help us to connect um, with it in our own lives, where it doesn't seem like hard to grasp.
hmm and
Hmm
you see somebody else is going through it too.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh, deep subjects. So, what about have you seen um like some ripple effects of some things that have um from your stones? What let's say I don't know, name one of the things that you were your moments. What?
So one of the moments, so I go by the meanings of the names, right? So Dan is vindicated, and I went through a situation at my job that was a very difficult situation that just it spanned over months, and God vindicated me in that. And it's part of the vindication too is that he does it, not us. So I had to lay down all of my fighting and what I thought I needed to do and just let him go ahead and fight my battle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours actually in mine is a comparison of Tamar, when
Mm.
David's daughter Tamar and all of that after she was raped, and but it was um, in a miraculous, just in the middle of worship where God vindicated me and just had the my perpetrator, on his knees and
Mm.
and telling him to go, get away
Oh,
from him and not to come
wow.
back, whatever. But then just to say, I vindicated you and
Yeah.
wrapped his arms around me and whatever. So,
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah,
I'm sorry you went through that, but I'm so glad God was there for you.
but that's it. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
cool thing is that God's there.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
and not the bottom line.
Right. Yeah.
That is, God is there. So,
Mhm.
um, and then I think too, so as you're doing and sharing your stories in there
hmm
too, and other people, you're gonna have this whole ripple effect of how how they see that, or maybe that just those little words that you put in there that move
Yeah, I
them.
mean, I had a friend who messaged me after she read the first memorial stone, and she said when she sat down to answer the questions, it was so deep that when she was done, she called her therapist and made an appointment. because she realized that there were some things she needed to work through. And so she was just so grateful. She's like, the book has caused me to actually start working on some of these other, and she had been to therapy before,
Mhm.
but sometimes there's layers to things.
Oh, there's
So
always layers.
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing in a group setting too, is that everybody, when they share their own stories of what they're going through, that's where, first of all, it builds you closer as a group,
Hmm.
it
Right.
brings you together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
then,
love group things. I love sharing stories. I love hearing where other people are. I think it's and God built us for community. So I think it's just a natural part of who we are and how we should be.
and the truths that he shows you, maybe he hasn't shown that yet to somebody else, and then they pick up
Exactly.
on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can walk with each other in those journeys. So yeah.
I think too, that just part of, I don't think, I think pain was meant to be.
Mm.
Because when are you closest to God?
Yeah. When you're in pain. Yeah. Yeah.
When are you learning most, leaning on him most, or?
Hmm. Right. We tend to run to him more when we're going through difficult things and when we're in pain. Um, yeah, that tends to be the default. And then when things are going well, we're like
It's like,
out here.
hi. Oh, that was a good devotional, and then you go on, but it's not like your heart seeking after him and really
Yeah.
looking.
And part of my challenge too, part of my journey has been because I learned to mask pain, that I was even masking my pain with him. So part of my journey that I had to walk through was not pretending with him and actually giving him my real pain, not my little polished and glossed and, perfectly packaged pain. Because yeah, that was definitely one of my challenges.
Well, two things happened there. One is you got to know God better,
Hmm.
and then you trusted him more.
Yeah, yeah,
Because all of that takes trust,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah. And that was that at the end of it, it was like, oh, you're not actually trusting me with the fullness of your pain, Brenda. Like I want all of it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know that I can trust you with it.
But you found out.
I did. I did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And
funny
oh, go
side
ahead.
effect is that he already knew everything.
He did. He did. And he just wanted me to know that I could come to him with all of that and to know that he wouldn't react the way I had experienced other humans react with my pain. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and it's a whole father thing too. If your dad wasn't part of your life or didn't, wasn't what you thought he should be or something, and then you project that onto God too, then that's, you know,
Yeah, that was a big lesson for me as well. I remember I thought I knew him as father, and then one day he said to me, "Actually, you know me as provider. You haven't gotten to know me as father." And
mm.
I was like, "Oh."
Well, you haven't gotten, at that point had not gotten to know him as Abba Father,
Mm-hmm.
as daddy,
Yeah.
as your
Yeah.
daddy, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's so many facets,
Mm-hmm.
friend and father and daddy and provider and all of
Mm-hmm.
all of those
Yeah. Yeah,
things.
that was hard for me. That was one of those where I had to give him that pain. And because I could tend to be a perfectionist. Right. So I'm like, no, 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 no. Like my relationship with you has been great. I have been seeing you as father. And he's like, no, no, you haven't. So
Yeah, it's a tiny reflection, what you
hmm.
see instead of the whole sunrise, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a little bit
So
of gold. What
hmm.
what has been one of your moments where you needed courage?
Um, So one of the times was this was the first time this ever happened. God told me to leave my job and single, had just purchased a home, so I'd used up a good amount of my savings. Um, and uh, he said, "Yeah, no, it's time for you to rest." And that was the scariest thing at that time. That was the scariest thing to date. And so even I knew it. I don't know if this has ever happened to you where you actually know something God is telling you, but you're like, "Oh, let me fast and see what he's gonna say about this."
Sounds like the fleece, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Let me see if there's dew on there in the morning. Then we'll see. Well, let's see if there's no dew on there the next morning.
right.
Then I'll
Yeah,
really know.
yeah. So like I knew it. I knew he was leading me in that direction. I just didn't like how he was doing it. And then I was like, oh, let me just fast. I'm gonna fast for 3 days. And day one of my fast in the afternoon, a friend of mine texts me and I hadn't talked to her about what I was thinking. I hadn't told her I was fasting. She didn't know I was thinking of leaving my job. And she said, "Yeah, I had a dream about you last night. You left your job."
Okay.
And then even after that, I'm like, "Oh, now I gotta do this." I started writing my letter of resignation and I wrote it. And even then, I just like stared at it because I'm like, am I really gonna do this? This is scary. Yeah.
Was it a job you were uncomfortable in?
It was. So I'd been in the hospitality management field for years and years and years, and then I moved to a new city, and we were opening a hotel in that city, and the workload was intense,
Mm.
and I burned out. We were like, there was a good 3 months I was working without days off, and even when I was did have days off. We were working 18-hour days. So I got to a place where I was completely burned out. But to be fair, leading up to that, a few years before that, I knew God was telling me I wasn't going to be in that field much longer.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like a setup, but it was a rough one. It was a rough one.
Which led into you learning to be dependent on God.
It absolutely did. Yeah, I had to be dependent. And it was interesting when I went into that season, Jan, of when I left my job. A few weeks after that, I was on my knees and just crying out to God and saying, like, what are we doing? How am I going to make money? And as I was praying in my mind's eye, I saw a massive tree just start to fall in my backyard. Like it started all the way at the end and it was crashing, 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 crashed through the fence, went through my neighbor's yard and the next yard and the next yard and the next yard. And so I said to God, like, what is that? And he said to me, that's your idol of self-sufficiency.
Ooh.
And we need to tear it down. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's another whole topic. I mean, the things that we do make idols of, that we don't even
Hmm.
really think about it at the time. You're just
No.
living your day and doing everything that you do and whatever, and then you don't stop to. It's kind of
Yeah.
God has to do like a little whammy.
Right. Yeah. Because I didn't think I had an idle self-sufficiency. I just thought I'm being a responsible person. I'm working, I'm doing the things that we do, right, as responsible adults, saving this, that, and the other. And it was for me, because of my heart posture, it was an idol of self-sufficiency.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. Been learning. I see you learning along the way. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You got an A now on this. You got an A. When have you seen him be faithful?
So interesting in that season, really, and beyond that. But in that season when I wasn't working, I there were times I couldn't pay some of my bills, but I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose my house. My utilities never got disconnected. My fridge was never empty. He was just consistently faithful through that. And it's so funny because I'll look back on that season and be like, how, I don't even know how I made it. But he was faithful, definitely faithful in that. So that I think I would say that was the first time I really experienced literally having to depend on God and seeing like literally day to day faithfulness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, and he became your husband,
Yes, yes, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I had to, he was my husband, he was my everything. I didn't have anyone else. And Jan, I'll be honest with you, it's not like I just in that season that I wasn't working, that I was just content with that. I did go out and look for jobs, and I would get rejections for jobs that I was well qualified for, like rejection after rejection after rejection. And then eventually I did just find like a small job serving. And for some reason, he allowed me to go to that job, but I never made enough money to pay the bills. And then one day he said to me, he reminded me of that scripture in Proverbs about not being a dog that goes back to its vomit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. What other plans do you have for me then?
Right.
I'm listening.
So the next day I resigned from that job.
Oh my goodness. Oh, geez. So you do something that you call clarity conversations. Well, tell us
Hmm.
about that.
Yeah, so my clarity conversations, I found that I had a gift. If like friends would tell me, "Oh, whenever I have a conversation with you, I can see clearly how what ideas I have, and you show me the thread on how to make these things work." And so with the clarity conversations, it's about so what happened with me was when I sat on my bed and reflecting at 30, when my divorce was happening, I realized that there were so many dreams I'd put on the shelf because of life. And it wasn't horrible things. It wasn't a bad thing for me to support my husband. And so with the clarity conversations, it's particularly for women over 40, right, who've lived life and who've had to put things on hold. So we have a conversation about what are the things that you've put on hold and how do we get to a place to where you can actually start doing them and activating them. And I help just guide through and find a good starting place, a sustainable starting place to start with that. And even if because sometimes women come to me and they're like, I don't even know what I want to do. But through having conversation, I can draw out what they want to do. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a
Yeah.
ministry.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, when you go back, you can look through all of your stones and say, I've been here, you know,
Hmm.
and here's where maybe I can see that in you, where maybe this is how God could direct you. And
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who we've done a couple of them, and each time, like the first one got her to a specific place, and then the second one got her even further. So yeah, it's really great. I enjoy doing it. It's like so easy for me.
uh-huh.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, well, then it's a gift.
Thank you. Yeah, it
Very-
is a gift. And that's another interesting thing too. I think even in my journey with the Lord was learning what are my gifts and how he wants me to use them. That was challenging. I don't know if it's been the same for you, but just learning like, oh God, this is a gift and you want me to use it because there've been even this gift of writing, I squashed it because I didn't realize it was a gift.
Mhm.
And so yeah.
Yeah. But then
Yeah.
again, he only gives you a vision for things that he knows you're going to be able to do.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he said to me, start a podcast, I'm going, Okay, I don't know anything about this, but but it has been one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Yeah, I watched your most recent
Oh,
episode
with
and
Lovatus.
yeah, yeah, what a story. My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But you look like you were having so much fun.
They are funny. Yeah, yeah. Tell everybody how they can reach you.
The best way to reach me is through my website, brendasavanu.com. That's where my book is, and that is where Clarity Conversations is. So that's the easiest place. One-stop shop. Just go to brendasavanu.com.
Perfect. I will put that in the show notes.
Thank you.
What would you like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, my friends say to me, my friends say to me all the time, they're like, if you, whenever you go and ask Brenda, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? She always says, well, have you talked to the Lord? Um,
Good advice.
right. And I'm always happy to do it with them. So sometimes even on the conversation, I'll just say, well, let's just pause. Let's invite in Holy Spirit. Let's invite in Jesus, and let's just see, what's being said. So the advice that I would give is that I want to leave the listeners with is cultivate your relationship with the Lord, sit with Him, listen for His voice, whether it's through doing your Bible studies or my journal or just reading the Bible, however you do that. I think the most important thing is that we have to sit with God, hear His voice, know His voice. Because ultimately, he's the one who's going to guide us through all of these things. And then, even in the stories I've told and how I squashed my gifts. Had I been listening to him, I wouldn't have, right? I would have been working in my gifts a long time ago.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so good. All right. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Jen. This was so much fun.